Can.
Oh, you
Oh, yeah,
record.
yeah.
You
No,
record
no,
already.
you are recording. You are recording. Yes. Okay,
I'm
okay.
recording.
Yes, you are recording now. Okay.
Oh, I'm recording already. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I try to record here. I also can record to the cloud. Okay. All right. Okay. I think most people are here. All right. Anyway, all right. So we say the Namo Tassa. Okay. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, I hope the A3 is continuous. It might stop later. If it stop later, I will continue with the battery. All right. So previously, I give you the questions for you all to think about that. So have you contemplate on your mind and body? Can you see the suffering aspect, or is it more on happiness or more on suffering? Anybody want to say? Do you see more happy moment, or do you see more suffering moment in your body and mind, especially your body? I think Brother Ong side, I mean the speaker. Okay, anybody want to answer? I was actually thinking about this question, but I think as the age going on, like I think I now near of 50 already. So I can feel more suffering in the body, especially back pain and the eyes, because I work with computer to do typing and do something. So the eyes is actually not feeling comfortable. Yeah, sometimes it's very dry. And then the weather now is actually very dry because it's a summer. So I can feel more suffering in the body. Definitely. For the mind, I think it's still manageable because I'm doing what I like to do. So no much suffering in the mind. Okay. So how about others? What do you think? Do you have more suffering in the body or more happiness in the body? How about Puelio or Mengse or Doris or Sumeta? Anybody? Just open
When
your
we
open your
okay.
video also. Yeah. Okay.
When we overeat, then it's suffering lah.
So you make sure you don't overeat lah.
Yeah lah. But sometimes a lot of temptation. So that's,
Okay.
I think it's the physical suffering that
Uh,
I can see more than the mental suffering.
okay. Physical suffering more than mental suffering. All right. Yes.
Hot weather some
Bec-
more.
yeah, yeah. All right. Hot weather. Now it's hot Malaysia also, right? Yeah.
Very, very hot.
How many degree?
It's 35, but it feels like 37.
Oh, okay. So how long will be this dry season?
Well, pessimistically is until July. Optimistically, maybe end of May.
Yeah, it will be same like Myanmar. Well,
Mm.
actually, hot season will start from March, April, May. April will be the hottest, up to 42, 42.
Oh,
And
that's
it's very dry, totally no rain. Every year is like this. And here it's so dry that how many months without raining? About 8 months.
so. How do
Eight
the
months.
farmers?
Yeah, yeah. This was so I think last year got certain place totally no rainwater. So a lot of crops dry out and they are requesting the water sent from the other place to them. Because the well also dry out. Because if you don't get the water from the government, actually most of the time it's not getting water from government. So they have to get from underground. But to get underground, you need petrol. And you need the machine and petrol. And now the petrol is very expensive. Yeah, it's like especially now the fighting place, the Arakan place is so expensive. They say how much? It's like one is about near to $10. Only one maybe
Liter,
one what
1 liter.
1 liter is what $10 already.
Oh, that's very
Yeah,
expensive.
very expensive.
Very,
Its
very
normal
expensive.
price is 3,000 Myanmar kyat, now become 30,000 Myanmar kyats. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how when we see like this, you can contemplate the suffering come is because we have the body, right? And if you look at the 31 plan system, that's why some people feel that maybe it's better don't have the body. You just opt for the mind. Because if you have the mind, you can meditate. You don't need the body, right? Do you get the point of how people think, how beings think? So beings thinking that, is it noisy? You can hear the noise, right? The
No,
construction
it's
noise.
okay. It's okay.
Oh, it's okay. Okay. Some people, they feel that since they have the body, they will body suffering. Myself opt for the mind. So that's why, because of their strong practice, they might go to jhana. It's because of the jhanic practice where they don't have the body at all. But still, the Buddha asks us to contemplate five aggregates, right? So for first noble truth, you have to see the five aggregates. So if you only got the mind, you don't have the body. So how many aggregates you have? Okay. So if you don't have the well, so if you have the body, you only got how many? Four aggregates. If you have the mind, mind only but no body. So if you minus one, so you got four aggregates. But if you have the how you say, either you got four aggregates or five aggregates. But the best thing is still having the five aggregates. All right, because five aggregates will make it. You can see the contemplation of suffering in the mind and body. So I think as we going have more aging, we can see suffering in the body, especially pasada. We call it chaku pasada. That's why I'm wearing specs now. You can see most people when they are over 40, 50, they have to wear the specs. It's not because we want to wear the specs, because we have to wear the specs. And as you go aging, you notice your teeth problem, nose problem, and then as you got disease, cancer, diabetes, whatever, you notice there are more and more. Then you notice about anatta. You cannot control the body. That's why born in the human world is still considered the best, because you have the dukkha satya. That is, you can see aging, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation, and so on. But if you're born in Deva, there's no aging. Most of the time, you don't see aging unless you're high Deva. There's no much suffering. You don't need to look for food. You just ting ting ting, the food come out. Okay. So that's why born as a human is still the best for us to see all sorts of suffering. That's the first noble truth. And that's why we are sometimes talking about, some people thought Buddhism is a pessimism, but actually the Buddha teaching is not pessimism, it's not optimism, it's realism. It's a practical one, because when the Buddha talk about suffering, he also talk about the cause of suffering. So when you know the cause of suffering, you also know the way to end the suffering. All right. Okay. So it's important for us to know the first noble truth. Okay. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we already go through dukkha satya, dukkha samudaya satya, dukkha nirodha satya, and then the dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. All right. So anybody who learn Theravada Buddhism, at least try to memorize some Pali terms. So that's why those who taking Pali, you are very lucky. You can pick up very fast. Okay. Dukkha satya, samudaya satya, nirodha satya, and dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. All right. We already go through some here. So let's look at the noble truth. Okay. So on that day, we are talking about all sort of possible birth, aging, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair. So different terms. Pain is dukkha, grief is domanassa. Then you got associate with unloved one, separation from the loved one, not getting what one wants. In short, the five aggregates. So now you already know what is five aggregates, all right? The lupa, vedana, sanya, sankala, and vijnana. All right. So we look at the Pali. Jati, birth, jara, aging, maranam, death. Soka is sorrow. So is it SOSO, right? Then parideva, limitation, dukkha, pain, grief is domanassa, despair is upayasa, all these are suffering. Yampi chamna labati. you don't get what you want, right? And separation from love and okay. So you can see in many, many suttas. All right. So let's go for the text here. Okay. So we finished this part already. This is the Visuddhimagga, right? So actually, when you get this text, you notice that there are small notes. The notes is coming from the commentary. Visuddhimagga is a commentary. So this is a sub commentary for the Visuddhimagga. It gives very good explanation. All right. And you also can see it has the explanation like just now. Yesterday we learned about the lupa. You can see they also put the Abhidhamma point here. Okay, this is called Visuddhimagga Mahatika. So concrete matter, lupa. So here, this book beside talk about from Sutanta view, you also talk about a lot of things from Abhidhamma. It's very interesting, but it's very small print, about 10 font. All right. Now, birth or suffering, we already mentioned. Okay. Let's start from okay. Okay, finish this one. Yes. All right. Sometimes the text, when you read it, is actually very funny, it's talk about something that beings are born in the mother's womb. He's not born in the blue or red or white lotus. But on the contrary, like worm in rotting fish, rotting dog, seas pools. He's born in a belly in a position that is below the receptacle for undigested food, stomach, and above the receptacle for digested food, rectum, between the belly lining and backbone, which is very cramped, quite dark, pervaded by very fatigued drugs. And well, the English also difficult to read. Anyway, it's trying to tell you that we are not born as we imagine in a very beautiful place. We are born in a very ugly place, very smelly place. So that's a trying to tell us the truth. So you will see this for I think mother will see it when the child are born. If not, you can look at the video on the YouTube, whatever, see the birth process. And then it's usually the child is not born in a very good smell place, not like lotus and so on. So the simile is given actually not born in lotus. Why? Because according to Buddha teaching, there are some beings, because of their good karma, like Upalawana, all these, those special names, they are born in the lotus, okay? Because of their past karma, they are born inside lotus. Okay, and then this is easy to read, all right? You can read yourself. So when the mother suddenly stumbles and move or sit down, get up, so he feel the extreme suffering, right? By being dragged back, forth, and jolted up and down, like the kid fallen into the hands of the drunkard, or like the snake's young fallen into the hands of the snake charmer, and the shearing pain he undergoes as though he has reappeared in a cold hell when the mother drinks cold water, as though deluged by the rain of embers when she swallows hot rice gruel, and underlying the torturing. So what you say that whatever the mother do, it affect the fetus, the child inside the mother's womb. So if the mother is moving so much or drink hot and cold, he also get a feeling. And then when the mother has the abortion, yeah. So if the process of abortion is actually very terrible, all right. And then when the mother is giving birth, right? This part 40, if somebody read 40 is actually very interesting. You should read it. Okay, Puelu, you can read this one. 40, yeah.
Okay,
40.
the pain that arises in him when the mother gives birth through his being turned upside down by the karma-produced winds or forces and flung into that most fearful passage from the womb, like an infernal chasm, and lugged out through the extremely narrow mouth of the womb, like an elephant through a keyhole, like a denizen of hell being pounded to pulp, by colliding rocks. This is the suffering rooted in parturition.
Okay, thank you.
Sadly,
Even the
I think
English,
if a pregnant woman now to read this also very fearful.
very fearful. Yeah. Because if you look at the process of giving birth, it actually is very scary. You know, the the documentary I read so far, for the most of the animals, they can give birth easily. No, because here we got the dogs, we got the cats. So animals, they can give birth without being helped by other beings. But normally for human is actually very terrible. Like mentioned here, okay, the hole, the we call it, how we call it, the birth channel is very narrow. So the baby must go through, the head is big, and then the shoulder also big, must go through a very narrow path. It's like being squeezed, like say, like the elephant go through the keyhole. It's actually true, no? That's why for human, if normally they have to give birth with the help of other human. If other human are not around to help them, so they might die. The mother also might die. The baby also might die because the baby might stuck, or maybe the baby, when the water, how do you call it, the water come out, and the baby not managed to come out safely, the baby also die. The mother also, because of pain, will die. So actually, it's really very scary. So there are a few suffering mentioned by the Buddha for the woman, like menstruation, being pregnant, giving birth. This one of the suffering like this. You can see it's actually very suffering. That's why for animals, easy for them to give birth, but for human, especially mother, it's very suffering for the mother and for the baby, because the baby really have to squeeze through the narrow mouth of the womb. Yeah, you can see. That's why they have to cut open down there for the baby to come out. So when you read it, of course, you cannot imagine unless you watch some video to see the actual process. And for the abortion, do you know how the baby are aborted? Anybody? Anybody have the idea how is the human baby being aborted? There are a few ways, right? One way is through the medicine. Another way is they use something to suck out the fetus. The moment it suck out the fetus, it's very painful. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually very interesting how they know, this is written many hundred years, 1,000 years ago. They all can see this problem. Yeah. Okay, and then 41, 42, we can read it. It's interesting to read also. Yeah, I think we can get. All right, Subang, you can read. Yeah,
Thank you,
Subang, yeah.
Sally.
Mm.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
The
Yes.
pain that arises in him after he's born, and his body, which is as delicate as a tender wound, is taken in the hands, bathed, washed, rubbed with cloth, etc., and which pain is like being pricked with needle points and gashed with razor blades, etc. This is the suffering rooted in venturing outside the mother's womb. The pain that arises afterwards, during the course of existence, in one who punishes himself, in one who devotes himself to the practice of mortification and austerity according to the vows of the naked ascetics, in one who starves through anger, and in one who hangs himself. This is the suffering rooted in self-violence.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now you can see the types of suffering, but you consider yourself when the baby is born, the baby is very soft and tender. So first have to go through the very narrow channel of birth. The baby got a shock already and come out, and then people will hold it, and then they make sure the baby must give birth, must breathe in. So they are making some, they say heat it or whatever. And the hand wash it, bathe it, rub it with clothes, whatever. So it feel like very painful. All right. But now these people go for the water birth, but still the washing of the baby, they have to endure all this suffering. Yeah. And then after that, the cost of assistance, when there are these technical from the Pali terms, but just means that it's in life. All right. When in one life, when he punish himself, when he do some all this ascetic mortification practice, and when he starve himself, all these are suffering rooted in the self violence. All right. Okay. And all these are poem. You can see the ancient people, they are actually all these are translated from Pali. You can see ancient people, they are very good at writing the poem. And the one translate from the Pali to English also very good because they are trying to make it more legitimate in English also. Okay, so we skip the poem. Okay, this finish the birth. All right. Now, so from here we can get some idea about human birth or normal birth. All right, now go for aging. Yeah. All right. So it's good to read because Four Noble Truth is very basic. So we should not be rushing to these texts, even though you thought that you know already. But it's good to remind ourselves again and again. All right, somebody read this. Yeah. Cindy? Cindy Yo, are you able to read? Yeah.
Aging is suffering.
Yeah, okay.
Aging is twofold as a characteristic of whatever is formed, and in the case of continuity, as the oldness of aggregates include in a single becoming, which oldness is known as brokenness, and so on. The latter is intended here, but this aging has as its characteristic the maturing or ripening of aggregates. Its function is to lead on to death. It is manifested as the vanishing of youth. It is suffering because of the suffering due to formations and because it is basis for suffering. Aging is the basis for the bodily and mental suffering that arises owing to many conditions, such as dizziness in all the limbs, decline and warping of the faculties, vanishing of youth, undermining of strength, loss of memory and intelligence, contempt on the part of others, and so on.
Okay, thank you. All right, we can see the suffering. So I think I like this term, brokenness. So it's like whatever you have, all will be broken. So for example, the one, right? Your limbs will not be so good. So the good one become weakened. Your faculties normally refer to the five sense faculty like eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. So we call it faculties, sense faculties. And then the youth also vanishing. You have less strength and memory also lost, forget things. All right. Intelligent, last time very clever, now also not so clever. And this is not clear. Contempt on the parts of others. This is all translated from Pali, also not clear about this. But we say aging is actually means that whatever five aggregate you have is old, is broken, is breakdown. The best way the Buddha say, like look at the chariot, the last time of course during the time in the ancient India, they are using chariot. Now we are using car. So thinking your body is like car, here we have one van been serviced more than I would say 50 times. We have one van here since how many years already? It's donated by one of the, I think, Jet here, about 10 years ago. So this van is very good to see it because we fix the wheel, then the steering got power. Then we fix the steering, then the engine got power. We fix the engine, and then the something because car has how many parts? Car have more than, according to how I read, is have thousands of very big and small parts. So basically when you fix one thing, another one will fall down. All right. So it's like our body. So you try to fix one thing, then another one also occur. You fix another one, you fix the eyes, then your ear got problem. You fix the nose, then your teeth got problem. All right. So basically, what we do when we're getting old, we are trying to repair our machine of this body. Sometimes we can repair, sometimes we cannot repair. Finally, with the sickness like cancer, disease, diabetes, and so on, that's why people always want to save the money because they want to prevent the sickness, but it's very difficult to prevent. Nobody can escape from sickness, aging, unless sudden death, but sudden death is actually considered not too good karma also, you know. Yeah, because we have no time to prepare the mind. All right. Okay, so we go back for this one. Okay. So aging basically is a broken down of the 5 aggregates, and you can see all this in yourself, especially you're 40, 50, like I'm 50 already. I consider middle age already, half. All right, that, all right. Okay, now one thing about that, any text you read in Visuddhimagga, in Abhidhamma, is always remember they will mention things very specific in 4 ways: characteristic, function, manifestation, and then there will be one proximate cause here, all right? So these 4 ways, even like this characteristic of that, 4, you know, your life is 4. Function means, yeah, let me design. Disjoint, all right? Disjoint from the current life. Manifest means absent from the destiny, all right? And there's no proximate cause here, but basically it shows these 3. So that's how we learn the Dhamma, very specifically by through the characteristic, function, and manifestation. So it gives a very clear idea. Again, that we no need to mention. All right. That's why Nibbana is called deathless. All right. Death, because when you have birth, then the 5 aggregates will be broken down through the aging, and death will occur. So that's why Nibbana is free from birth and death. Nibbana is called deathless. All right. Sorrow. Sorrow and lamentation. All right. So remember, we have these 2. So always go for the original Pali, okay? You have sorrow and limitation. What's the difference between sorrow and limitation, right? Sometimes it sounds very similar, sorrow and limitation. So we look at the text, especially with Visuddhimagga, it gives a very clear idea. Okay, somebody read 48, all right? So Brother Ko, yeah. 48, yeah.
48. As regards sorrow, etc. Sorrow is a burning in the mind in one affected by loss of relatives, and so on. Although in meaning it is the same as grief, nevertheless it has inner consuming as its characteristics. Its function is completely to consume the mind. It is manifested as a continuous sorrowing. It is suffering because it is intrinsic suffering, and because it is a basis for suffering. Hence, this is said, sorrow is a poison dart that penetrates a being's heart, setting up a burning there, like burning with a red hot steel. This state of mind brings future pain, such as disease, and then again, aging and death. So one may tell, therefore it is called pain as well. This is the exposition of sorrow.
Okay, you can continue 49, yeah. Lamentation.
Lamentation 49. Lamentation is verbal clamor on the part of one affected by loss of relatives, and so on. It has crying out as its characteristics. Its function is proclaiming virtues and vices. It is manifested as turmoil. It is suffering because it is a state of suffering due to formation and because it is a basis for suffering. Hence, this is state. Now, when a man is struck by sorrows, that and he laments, the pain he is already undergoing treatment with pain born of dry throat and lips and palate, hard to bear, and so lamenting too is pain. The Buddha did declare. This is the exposition of lamentation.
Okay, now can you see the difference between this sorrow and lamentation? Can you see? Now let me make it small. Okay. Are they same or not same?
I think lamentation is the continuation of sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That is one aspect of it. And
Yeah.
that's why you say the characteristic is crying out. That means there'll be vocal intimation.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Sorrow may be more of mental.
Yeah, sorrow is burning in the mind, right? Yes. Sorrow is, of course, when at first it's burned in the mind, later will express out, especially express out through the lamentation. Okay. When somebody loss of relatives and so on, so cry out. Yeah. Yeah. It's like very drastically, but it's true, sorrow becomes so strong and lamentation. That's how it's. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So these two actually similar. So when you learn the Dhamma, you have to see how Buddha arranged the idea. The Buddha put the sorrow and lamentation next to each other because after sorrow, when sorrow, the burning in the mind becomes so strong, then somebody will cry out. So lamentation, literally, the Pali word is a Pari Deva. Okay, Pali Deva. You can find this Pali Diwati, something like that. Pali Diwati means the action of crying. So after that, we have pain and grief. All right. So we got the birth, aging, in more sickness, not mentioned, death already, sorrow, lamentation. Okay. I think lamentation, just think is lamentation or cry out. Okay. Now pain and grief, these two we have to study together because they are in a way quite related. Sorry, it's difficult to control the mouse. Yeah. Okay. So these two you already okay. Sumita, yeah, you read out. Yeah. 50. Yeah.
Pain. Pain is bodily pain. Its characteristic is the oppression of the body. Its function is to cause grief in the foolish. It is manifested as bodily affliction. It is suffering because it is intrinsic suffering and because it brings mental suffering. Hence, this is said, pain distresses bodily, thereby distressing mentally again. So acting fundamentally, it therefore is especially called pain. This is the exposition of pain. Grief. Grief is mental pain. Its characteristic is mental oppression. Its function is to distress the mind. It is manifested as mental affliction. It is suffering because it is intrinsic suffering and because it brings bodily suffering. For those who are gripped by mental pain, tear their hair, whip, thump their breast, and twist and writhe. They throw themselves upside down, use the knife, swallow poison, hang themselves with ropes, walk into fires, and undergo many kinds of suffering. Hence, this is said, though grief itself distresses mind, it makes distress of bodily kind occur. And that is why this mental grief is pain as those that have no grief ever.
Okay,
This
thank you.
is, okay.
Yeah, okay. Can you see the difference or similarity? What is the similarity and what is the difference? Yeah. Sumita?
Yeah, this pain is a physical bodily pain, and it also distresses the mind. That means both body and mind.
Which one is body? Which one is mind?
The body one is the pain. That means it's
Okay.
physical.
Okay, right.
Whereas the grief is mental pain.
Okay. Yeah, okay, good. All right. So the main thing is their pain, but the pain refer to bodily pain. Grief refer to the mental pain. Then the rest are actually quite same. The characteristic is just oppression. It oppress the mind, But grief is actually, you can see, when the grief is so strong, they will do all this action, why they thumb their breast, all these are their action, that the boom, boom, boom. They turn around, twist around, they throw themselves, they even use knife, they want to kill themselves and so on. So grief is actually, you can see here already under kind of like depression, strong depression already. Okay. So when you learn, that's why you always remember sorrow, lamentation, learn together. Pain and grief learn together because pain is called dukkha, right? Dukkha here. Grief is domanassa. Okay, domanassa, if you know the Pali is do and mana, okay, bad mind. So something bad mind means your mental pain. All right. So despair. Finally, you got despair. All right. So let's look for. Yeah.
You see, just now we have the sorrow, then lamentation. Now we have grief. You see, sorrow is from mental to crying out to physical action.
Mm.
The pain is from bodily, it leads to mental. There is the opposite combination. So
yes.
How
pain and grief. So it's like what they say from here. Sometimes I read a sutta, they say from here the degree is different, no? Okay, degree. For example, sorrow maybe you can say 5%. Then lamentation is 10%. You feel the body may 50%. Then grief maybe 70%. It's like what they say is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. The degree of pain. Yeah, that's one idea. Intensity, yeah. That's one way people are saying, because compared to sorrow, you might feel sorrow in the mind, but you don't do anything. But lamentation means that you already actively voice out. So the pain in the body, you can still stand it, but you come to grief, it's considered very strong already. But come to despair means quite hopeless already. Yeah. That's why the English. Yeah.
I mean, if you say, for example, based on your, just illustrative figures,
numbers, yeah.
Just now you go back to your slide.
Maybe later. Let us finish the despair first. Yeah, because it's something that, and there are some simile given here. Yeah, this is actually very good. Okay, so we finish the 52 and 53, then we come back again. Okay. All right. So next person, 52. Let's see who never read before. Okay, Guat Ngo. Yeah, you can read this one, please. Yes, 52.
Okay. So despair is the same as the humor produced by excessive mental suffering in one affected by loss of relative and so on. Some say that it is one of the state included in the formation aggregate. Its characteristic is burning of the mind. Its function is to be more. It is benefited as dejection. It is suffering because it is suffering due to formation, because of the burning of the mind, and because of bodily dejection. And this is said, so great the pain, despair imparts. It burned the heart as with fever flame. The body function is impaired, and so despair borrow from pain its name. This is the exposition of despair. Sorrow is okay.
Yeah, you want to read Concordance 53?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorrow is like the cooking of oil, etc., in a pot over a slow fire. Lamentation is like it's boiling over from the pot when cooking over a quick fire. Despair is like what remained in the pot after it was boiled over and is unable to do so anymore, going on cooking in the pot till it dry out.
Okay. So here it gives the relationship between sorrow, lamentation, and despair. Sorrow is boiling. Lamentation like pop, 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 when the boiling over means the sound come up. All right. Despair means it's boiled over, it dry, and then despair means the mind is actually very dry out until no more. Right. So it's very interesting, this simile. Okay. Sorrow, lamentation, and despair. These three. Here also for despair, it actually explained as when somebody lost or relatives is to do with lamentation. Just now we say lamentation has a loss of relative, and then this is called this one excessive mental state. You can see excessive mental suffering. So earlier part is talking only the oppression. You can see here earlier part grief is oppression, despair is excessive. So you can see the words using is more stronger and stronger already. All right. So if we make conclusion, so let's say if we just going to don't do this, we just take only the sorrow. Sorrow is like boiling, it's like boiling. So it's a boiling over, like just now. And this is like boil until going to be empty, all right? It's like this. Okay, you can take. Or basically, this one you just put these two together because in a way they are considered related to each other. All right, Badako? Yeah.
Yeah, because I tend to think that the pain is normally more bearable compared to lamentation. So that is my what you
Which
call
pain?
perception.
Physical pain or mental pain?
Physical pain.
Yeah, that's why the Buddha say actually let the mind, let the body, let the pain be in the body, but don't let the mind has the pain, because we can have upekha over the happiness or suffering of the body, especially for arahata, the arahant. Okay. Yeah. But basically you can see when they say sorrow limitation is oppression, they call it just not the word oppression. What is it now? Grief is oppression, all right? So this grief is oppression. Mental oppression. And then the despair is excessive mental suffering. So you can use, in a way also can use. Right.
Because from personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I've seen when I was much younger, I've seen during funeral, for example, people lament, but they don't feel physical pain.
Yeah. Yeah, physical pain is talking about when the pain really comes, like being pierced by something or suffer from strong sickness where you got lots of vedana feeling, all right? But there is if you have lah, but the pain is not 24 hours. If the pain is 24 hours, it's very painful. Okay?
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
in this case, it's something like cancerous patient, cancer patient. Then
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sort of pain may be okay. That worse than lamentation. Okay. In that sense,
Yeah,
I
lamentation is you still
feel
can control. Yeah. It's actually the sorrow. If you consider sorrow, lamentation, despair, they are quite in a sequence. Pain and grief may be one pair. Or you can see everything like one by one. But if talking about pain is only dukkha, physical pain, then it should not be linked with this. Other will be more on the mental pain. All right. Okay, so and it's interesting to read all this because if I don't show you all, first you all might not open the book. I'm not so sure. How many of you had this book? How many of you had this book? Or you saw this book before?
I have a soft copy, but
Okay.
I haven't come to this stage.
I have the
Okay.
hard copy.
You have the hard copy. So have you read from beginning to end?
Oh
That's the
no, cannot. Can get lost in between.
Okay, so especially the first is on the morality sila to do with those ascetic or monks. You can skip it. You can just read meditation or which part. Like now we are talking about Four Noble Truth. You just read about Four Noble Truth. Yeah, I try to read. I mean, sometime when I'm free. Last time, now I'm not free. Okay. Okay, but I just pick up some point, especially when we are doing research in our university. It's good. Always a lot of people quote this book, beside the Sutta book, we quote from this book because it's easier to get more facts. Okay, now these two also, association with unloved, separation from love. Okay, somebody read, yeah. Okay. Okay, Ho, you can read, yeah. 54.
54.
Yeah.
Association with the unloved is meeting with disagreeable being and formation inanimate things. Its characteristics is associated with the undesirable. Its function is to distress the mind. It is manifested as a harmful state. It is suffering because it is a basis for suffering. Hence, it is said, the mercy of the unloved thing bring firstly mental suffering, and suffering of body to thought touching is can then ensure, and we therefore may recognize, since meeting the unloved give rise to either kind of bring, that he decided pain is named should be, it is the exposition of association with the unloved.
Okay, thank you. Amy, you read the next one. Amy, separation from the loved.
Just a moment.
Ah, this one
Okay,
55.
separation
Yeah.
from the love. Separation from love is to be parted from agreeable beings and formation. In inanimate things, its characteristic is dissociation from desirable object. Its function is to arouse sorrow. It is manifested as loss. It is suffering because it's a basis for the suffering of sorrow. Hence, this is said. The dart of sorrow wound the heart of fools who from the wealth must part or kin, of which roughly should be ground enough for coming the love lost as a suffering. This is the exposition of separation from the love.
Okay, thank you. I
Thank
think
you.
this is, yes. I think most people is easy, especially when we go to work, So before that, if we never working, you stay in your house, you never feel suffering. But go to work, have to meet the colleague, nasty colleague or nasty boss. Okay. And also maybe all these unloved one is not to say just the human being. You're also talking about things, not just the human beings. Okay. Even like desirable objects, okay, separation from the disagreeable beings. Beings means human being or other beings, and also things. Maybe you got one loved handphone, your handphone is spoiled, being stolen. So you can say everything is explained in characteristic, function, and manifestation. So that's how it do. Okay, and I like the ancient people how they managed to write poem for everything, and it's translated to English. Okay, all right. Okay, next one. Okay. Ashin Chanda, you can read this one. 56. Cannot hear you. Yeah. Ashin Chanda, yeah. Cannot hear you. Yeah. I think his side is cannot hear you. Yeah, your side is cannot hear. Maybe his Wi-Fi is not good. Okay, then 56. Guingwa. Yeah, Guingwa, you can read the 56. Yeah.
Okay, Saiji. Not to
Yes.
get what one wants, the one itself of some unobtainable object expressed in such passages as, oh, that we were not subject to birth, Vibhanga 101, is called suffering since one does not get what is wanted. Its characteristic is the wanting of an unobtainable object. Its function is to seek that. It is manifested as disappointment. It is suffering because it is a basis for suffering. Hence, this is said. When beings here expect to gain something they build their hopes upon, which fails them, they are woebegone with disappointments, numbing pain. Thereof, the cause is hope they wed to something they cannot obtain. Not to get what one wants is pain. The conqueror has therefore said, this is the exposition of not to get what one wants.
Okay. Thank you. So you can see, I think the characteristic is wanting. Yeah. You want something. that not obtained, all right? Then after that, the function means you try to find it, right? Okay. Okay, try to seek for it. And then manifested a disappointment. Actually, it's very good. If you read that, it's actually psychology already. That's why people like the Dhamma, because you read it, you can see the psychology, you know. You are wanting something, you look for it, seek for it, then you are disappointed, and then it's a basis for suffering. And then the ancient people, their poem is so good. They admire them. Okay, now, finally, in short, the five aggregates of clinging, you know, that's the conclusion. Right? So the Buddha said, Sankitena, ena instrumental case. Sankita is a short. Pancha, five, upadana, clinging, kanda, aggregates, dukkha, suffering. Okay? So five aggregates of suffering. All right, okay. I think it's enough. Let's go for truth of origin of suffering. All right. So so we already finished here. So you can see once there's a dukkha satya aggregates. So there's an effect here. So we have to understand it. Our practice is you must understand the five aggregates. There's a basic of craving. Then you must know the next one, dukkha, noble truth of there's a samudaya satya. It's a cause here. And you have to abandon it. All right. So okay, let's go for it. Okay, all these are Pali, okay? Yam yam tanna. So you can see how they divide. Ya ayam tanna. Yam yam tanna. Pono Bhavika, and then Nandi Raga Sahagata, and then here words by words with the analysis. Okay, so if you are studying Pali, you can refer to this one. All right. Sayatidam, what is Sayatidam? Okay, so it's talking about the craving here that produce the rebirth again, future becoming. Pono from the Puna. Puna is again and again. Bawa. So becoming. So rebirth again and again. So Puna Bawa. Puna Bhavika. So this is a Tadida suffix. Yeah. And then accompanied by Nandi. Okay. Nandi is kind of like delight. Raga is greed. So every time when we have rebirth, is according to the Abhidhamma, is always accompanied by greed. And then it has three types of craving. Craving for sensual desires, craving for becoming and non-becoming, right? Okay. So just it's getting noisy here. So the word karma, actually there are two types. One is we call it Kalisa karma. Another one is called Watu karma. Okay. So these are defilements. This one is an object, right? So what kind of defilements refer to the greed, all right? Greed or craving here. So this is called the sensual object. So klesa means defilement. Watu means object. So sensual object and or here they translate as a sense desire also can. Yeah, sense desire. So normally karma refer to watu karma or klesa karma. Here refer to klesa karma. But we can have craving for the object, and we also have the craving itself is the defilements. All right. And this bawa vibawa, I hope the text will explain later. All right. No, it didn't explain much. Okay. Now, when we say craving for becoming, so what is the becoming? Means that it's just a very simple idea. For example, it's like the idea I want to live forever. This kind of idea. So when you pass away, you want your soul or your permanent entity to continue to live, right? So that's the idea of craving. But this becoming means that the idea is like after that there is no more. So this also to do with the idea of soul. You thought the soul is like being terminated or something like that. Okay. So that's why the word bawa and vibawa. Okay. So these two. And this one is very easy. Just crave for good sight. Like we learn in Abhidhamma, good sight, good sound and smell and taste and touch, tangibility. Yeah. Okay. So this is a samudaya satya. All right. So anything we call it the craving. So anything craving will lead to the dukkha satya. Okay. So samudaya satya, which is the so you will lead to the dukkha satya. So samudaya satya is the cause. So dukkha satya will be the result, effects. Yeah. So that's why when you learn the Four Noble Truths, try to see the pair here, you know. It's actually Four Noble Truths, you can see only two pairs, cause and effect, all right? So the origin of suffering, craving, tanha, and then the effects will be dukkha satya. So the craving, we should abandon, is our practice. Noble Truth, five aggregates, we should understand it, should be understood. Okay, so that's how they link with each other. Okay, it sounds very easy, but of course, how to abandon the craving is not easy. Okay, all right. I think we will read this one and then we will stop here. Okay, 62 and 63. So today it's quite noisy here, so we do more reading. Okay, 62. Somebody. All right. Wong, are you able to read, Sister Wong?
Yes.
Okay,
I think
62. Yeah, okay.
the truth of the cessation of suffering. In the description of the cessation of suffering, it is the cessation of the origin that is stated by the words, that which is of that same craving, and so on. Why is that? Because the cessation of suffering comes about with the cessation of its origin. For it is with the cessation of its origin that suffering ceases, not otherwise. Hence, it is said, just as a tree cut down grows up again, while yet its roots remains unharmed and sound, so with the tendency to crave intact, this suffering is ever reproduced. Dhammapada 3:38. So it is because suffering ceases only through the cessation of its origin that when teaching the cessation of suffering, the Blessed One therefore taught the cessation of the origin. For the perfect ones behave like lions. When they make suffering cease And when they teach the cessation of suffering, they deal with the cause, not the fruits. But the sectarians behave like dogs. When they make suffering cease, and when they teach the cessation of suffering by teaching devotion to self-mortification, etc., they deal with the fruits, not the cause. This is the first place, is how the motive for teaching the cessation of suffering by means of the cessation of its origin should be understood.
Okay, thank you. So the
Thank you,
simile,
Saji.
thank you here. The simile here is given is very nice. Lion and dogs. So anybody understand what is this simile is about? Try, test your IQ. What is this lion and dogs? Anybody want to try? Okay, somebody? What's the difference between lion and dogs here?
Lion
think it's
is the
as
king of beasts. King of beasts.
so
That
so
means they will teach. That means they will not cure the symptoms. They will cure the cause, the root cause.
okay. Yeah, okay. So why is the simile given here? Because compared to dogs and lion, which one has more intelligence? You have to think
Lion.
about lion, you know. Imagine you try to throw the stone to the lion. What happened? The
They
lion will look at you first. Yeah.
attack you.
Attack you, right? But when you throw the stone at the dog might just want to attack the stone. I try to say that. So the perfect ones means the Tathagata, the Buddha with the high intelligence. So when they see the problem, they teach you the source of the problem. So the problem is suffering, right? So they also teach you what is the cause of suffering, right? So if you want to cease the suffering, you must cease the origin of suffering. That's a craving. But others, they behave like dogs, you know, just a simile given here. Okay. All right. And then there are some definition here. All right. Okay. So let's go for here. So if you look at the logic, when we talk about Four Noble Truths, there also must be some logic here, right? So what we see, like last time we already discussed the order of teaching. Why the Buddha start Four Noble Truths? Because it's easy to see. So you can say it's easy to see. That's why the Buddha start with this one. And after that, why he talked about the origin? Because it's the source of suffering. And then he talked about cessation of suffering. If you want to end your suffering, you must look for the cessation of suffering. So they are all the teaching. And then after that, you'll find the way how to do it. That's why the Buddha teach about the Majjhima Patipata, middle path. So you should understand the noble truth. First noble truth, you should abandon the second, you should realize the third one, and you should develop this. So actually in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it also mentioned that we have 4 duties to do. Something that we should understand, something that we should abandon, something we should realize, and something we should develop. All right. So today we already go through this one, and the text didn't mention much, so we only briefly go through the samudaya, and there will be I think some more on nibbana. Okay, I think that's enough for this class. All right, any last question? Yes.
Sergi,
Yes.
just now you mentioned about Puelu here. So you talk about the lion and the dog. I think I like this this
okay.
of the lion because okay,
Yeah.
what I understand is that like the Buddha's lion's roar or Sariputta's lion's roar.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah.
so the lion, when a hunter throws a meat, the lion does not see the meat, the first see the hunter because that's the threat, the challenge. So you see the origin. But a dog's bark, when someone throws the piece of meat or bone, the dog will chase after the bone. But then that's where the problem is because it doesn't see the thrower, the source of the bone. Yeah. So I was thinking, I mean, it's very interesting. Thank you so much, Sergi, for introducing this.
Yeah, it's the show the different level of knowledge, the intelligence, you know. So that's why they always have a statement. I think you know when there's problem, it's no problem. Have you heard about that, Purdue? When there's problem, is no problem.
Yeah, I heard the late chief say if you think there's a problem, then there must be a solution. If there's no
Yes.
solution, then there's no problem.
Right, something like that. Yes. When there's problem, is no problem, because when you got problem, there must be solution. Like this case, you got the suffering is a problem. Then the solution is you must end the suffering, you end the cause of suffering. There's a craving, right? So there's problem means that there's solution. So if there's no problem, if there's no solution at all, that means that it's not a problem. Okay, something like that. Okay, it's actually interesting to learn from Visuddhimagga, because when you read the Sutanta, sometimes you get a lot of fragment idea. You read one sutta, it talk about maybe Four Noble Truth. Then you read another sutta, it talk about maybe the craving. Then you read another sutta, it talk about defilement. But it's very seldom to have a complete idea like this. Actually, when you read the Visuddhimagga, you're actually learning from the teacher, because Buddha Gosa, you all remember when I mentioned the history of it. He was supposed to say he's from India. Okay, he arrived at Sri Lanka, the Mahavihara, and he wanted to translate all the commentary to bring back to India. So the teacher of there challenged him. Okay, you must prove that you must be worthwhile to do this task. So he write 3 books. He write one book, and then the Dewa hide it. Then he write again the second book, and then the Dewa hide it again. So he write 3 times, and the book when produced exactly the same. So what he write actually is taken from the ancient commentary. There are 3 books, because for my PhD, I also mentioned the 3 books. And all these commentary are 300 years before his Buddha Gosa supposed to be, I think, 5th or 6th century. So this means that the commentary came about, the commentary base is about 1 or 2 century. It's actually very near to Buddha time compared to our time. We're already 2550, very far from the Buddha. So when you learn from the ancient teacher, you get lots of variable knowledge, and you can see the way they write is very logic, very logic and very systematic. And I like the poem, because the poem is actually very profound also. Okay, so yeah, it's getting noisy because the workers are working. Okay, so may our good Marys in listening to the Dhamma and learning about 4 Noble Truths, may it help us to improve our mind and help us to understand more about our mind matter, for us to practice more. Okay, and thanks for all of you for coming to listen to this. I will not say Dhamma talk, Dhamma sharing. Okay, so we just do a quick sharing of merits with our departed ones, with those related to us, with all the sentient beings, including the devas, petas, whoever need the merits. May they receive the share of merits, and if they are departed one, may they born in good place. And for the devas who receive the share of merits, may they protect the Buddha Sasana, protect our temple, our project here. All right. Okay, so may you all be very happy also. Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.